All right, we're recording.
Live from the Spill Studios located behind the liquor store off the I-35 interchange, it's time once again for a couple of cold ones with Corey and Carla.
Yes, live. I had
Live.
to do that. I had to do that last week because you weren't here. I told everybody how tired you were.
Oh, my God. Well, and then you had to showcase how tired I was in that review.
Which one?
The Old Dogs review.
What do you mean? What did I do?
Oh, when my brain completely just stopped for a moment and believed that Up Without a Paddle was made in 1999 and not 2004.
Oh, man, we do that stuff all the time. Shit, all of us do that.
Oh, no. I'm just saying that, I was so tired, I believed that Without a Paddle happened in 1999. And then when I woke up the next morning, I was like, 1999, where the fuck did that come from? But I literally went home that night after we finished recording all those reviews, and I passed the fuck out.
No, it was cool because, Cyrus is always ready to record. And Leon, around midnight, he'll say how tired he is, but then he always says, I got that second wind. And then he's ready to go. You know how he is. Yeah, oh, yeah. So it worked out fine. They actually did a real good job. We had a lot of fun. So it was it was fine. But now you're back in full form.
From outer space. I just walked in to find you here. With that said, look upon your face. Oh,
and I have to tell you for a second, I see you sitting up dancing with a sequin dress on, with a glitter ball on the ceiling, you just twirling and shit.
Why would you think about that, man?
Because I love you. That's why. No.
Did you watch the Thanksgiving parade?
No, I don't watch that shit. What happened?
Oh, Gloria Gaynor was on one of the floats.
She's still alive?
Yeah, not only is she alive, but she looks good. I mean, not like good like you do her, but
yeah. Is she breathing? That's looking good for me.
She came out on one of the floats and sang her one hit and
it disappeared.
And then vanished back into the ether.
Man, that Thanksgiving Day parade is it's good for fucking with has-beens like that. Because they did that with Rick Astley, man.
Yeah, well, see, but Rick Astley rickrolled the crowd, and that was the single most genius thing he could have ever done, because literally that was the very end of rickrolling. Like, rickrolling was no longer cool the minute Rick Astley thought it was cool to rickroll somebody.
No, it wasn't. I mean, it was sad. Yeah, I'm glad he killed that shit because it was sad. I mean, first of all, he was introduced by a puppet, and people, you're gonna know what rickrolling is once we tell the whole story, because all you kids have seen it on the internet. But a puppet from Nickelodeon introduced him. He's like, "Hey, everybody, look who's here, Rick Astley." And everybody's like, "What?" And then Rick Astley comes out, and he sings like a couple of verses from Never Gonna Give You Up, Never Gonna Let You Down. And he looks like he's on the verge of crying. Like he just said to himself, how did I get here in this state? Coming out of a fucking float in front of millions of people, introduced by a puppet to sing two verses out of my song that is a big one-hit wonder. And that shit, you're right, that shit was never heard from again after he did that.
It was done. It was so awesome. Yeah, I watched the whole parade this year.
I didn't even know they still did that parade.
Oh, yeah, of course they do. And it was one of those things. This was a really weird year because our family had to go out of town at the last minute, so our plans got canceled. And several of our friends here in town were like, oh, hey, well, this is our first Thanksgiving away from home, so we're going to have a big Thanksgiving dinner. We'd love for you guys to come over. And we're waking up butt-ass early at the crack of dawn to watch the parade. And me and my wife were just like, parade? That'd be cool, actually. So we went out and bought several boxes of breakfast cereal and trucked over with big bowls and had big bowls of breakfast cereal and sat and watched the parade for several hours. It was actually, it was a lot of fun, actually, to have a whole bunch of 20 and 30 something sitting around in their pajamas eating breakfast cereal and watching the parade.
I'm glad I wasn't there, because y'all would have tried to wake me up, and I'd be like, y'all better get the fuck out of here asking me to wake up to watch a goddamn Thanksgiving Day parade. Unless y'all eating some really good cereal. I got Frosted Flakes. Okay, all right, I'll come in there and do it. But that's how early do you have to get up for the Thanksgiving Day parade?
It starts at like either 8 or 9.
Really? 8?
Yeah.
Is that the same day or the same thing as the Macy's Day Parade?
That is the Macy's Day Parade.
Okay, so that's the one with all the big floats of like Stewie Griffin and Charlie Brown and all that kind of shit?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. You couldn't videotape that and watch that later on? You have to get up early in the morning to watch that parade?
Yeah. I mean, it was. Keep in mind, my schedule was all sorts of wacky for the past 2 weeks. Planet 51 fucked up my sleep schedule hard. Remember that?
Oh, because that was on a Saturday morning.
And I had been up all night, so I decided to stay up and go see it. And so I didn't think you guys were going to want to record afterwards, and you did. So I ended up waking up on 1 o'clock on Friday and going to bed at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday. So I was up for 26 hours. Every day since then, 2 weeks ago, I have not been able to get a good night's sleep. My schedule's been all wacky. And so at that point in the week, I was waking up at 6:30 in the morning to start my day. So going over to a friend's house at 8 o'clock in the morning to watch the parade didn't sound so bad.
Damn, and I thought we had a bad experience with Planet 51. That movie fucked your life up for a little while,
It
didn't
did for 2 fucking weeks. And every time people asked me, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? It's like, oh man, I haven't been sleeping. Why not? Planet 51. And yet Planet 51 isn't the worst thing I've seen in the last 2 weeks either.
But it messed your shit up. The
did.
aliens came in and fucked your life up. Well, I'm sorry.
Done fucked me up, but good.
Yeah, damn. I kind of don't feel so bad about having seen the movie now. At least I had a steady schedule for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, you should have seen Old Dogs.
No, I should not have seen Old Dogs. I did see Old Dogs. I saw it in the trailer, and that was enough.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, all right. Well, you know what? Speaking of these movies, man, let's see if they have a place in this week's top 5.
You mean the top 5 brought to you by Spill?
I'm sorry. Let's see if they have a place in the top 5. All right.
The top 5 brought to you by Spill.
How much coffee are you spitting up on that microphone when you say it like that?
I don't know. I've got a microphone guard.
I bet. I've been talking on our microphone guards, and I got to steam these things. These things are starting to smell like shit. These
you know why?
guards.
You know why they smell like shit?
Well, don't tell me because they've been up your ass. I mean, why do they smell like shit?
No. Because me and the co-host have a habit of leaning forward and just kind of practically snoozing on our guards.
I think everybody does that. I mean, if you're not like putting your mouth directly on it, you're just spitting up all kind of stuff. That's just natural. But I'm getting to like actually talk on these now, and I'm like, what smell like shit around here? I'm like looking at my armpits and everything. I'm like, it's these fucking spit guards. The spit guards for our audience here are the things that are on front of they're nets that are on the front of the microphones to help slow down like the hard pronunciations, especially like the P's and
P sounds,
the
pops,
the P's and the
pops.
S's. They even they're called popper stoppers even. And so when you're up there spitting all day long talking into these things start to smell like a jockstrap. And I'm just like, God damn. And I've actually put my face on these, and I'm like, man, this is almost like French kissing one of you guys. It's about as much spit as on these things. I'm going to take these things and boil them. I'll burn them and throw them out.
Can I take a moment to stress that if you know what it's like to French kiss one of us, that it wasn't me?
No, any girl that ever gets with us, the way I French kiss, I just put my whole mouth around your face, and I can do it too. So yeah, your face might end up smelling like shit too by the time we're done. But let's start out with number 5 here.
Number 5 film of the week
is A Christmas Carol. Still in there at number 5.
Told you it was going to stay in there for weeks. Now, I was hoping that it would pop back up because of the Christmas holiday, but that didn't happen.
Well, it actually has been. I mean, this whole list this week is crazy because I kind of kept up with it, and the movies just have been all over the place all weekend. There was a point where A Christmas Carol was out, and then it came back in like an hour later. I was just kind of curious at how some of these movies were going to do, and yeah, it popped back in there. It made $16 million this weekend and has grossed so far $105.4 million. So
now, as we were talking about beforehand, this has been doing really poorly the last few weeks, and I knew that as soon as the Christmas holiday geared up, as long as it was still in theaters, it would see a rise. Now, this is a large jump from where it was last week, isn't it?
Oh no! Last week was at number 5 too, so it's kind of
no.
steady.
I don't mean no.
Oh, you're talking about the as much as it's grossed.
Yeah.
You know what? I think it actually. Let me see. I think it actually brought in a little bit more money than it did last week.
That's what. No,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I'm saying.
Like I think it made 30% more than it did last week. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, it's up 83% from last week.
And I'm talking about for the weekend.
Now you're talking 16 million. What you're talking about with this week's top 5 is you're covering just the 3-day, not the 5-day.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. I'm just talking about the weekend. Over the 5-day, yeah, I can see it bringing in that much. But right now, yeah, I'm just looking at the 3-day gross, the weekend gross. So I didn't even think about that. I don't have the chart for like the full 5 days, but
I have the 5-day in front of me, so we're all good. It made 22 million, 22.5 this 5-day period.
Okay.
And you were correct. It is up to 105 million.
All right. Well, let's go up to number 4 then.
The number 4 piece of shit movie of the week is
Old Dogs, and which I am surprised because I thought this movie would have done better. But this movie is up against some other films that have benefited from the holidays, like movies that people have just been waiting for the Thanksgiving holiday to come around so they had time to go see it. But this movie suffered from those, and it brought in $16.8 million. Now, like I said, that's over the weekend. And let me see. If you take the total gross from Wednesday, it brought in 24.1. Movie cost $35 million to make. So if it hangs in there for another week, it could actually be making somewhat of a profit, which it'll probably do with worldwide distribution and DVD.
Oh yeah, no, there was no doubt that with a budget this small, that this movie was going to profit. The question is how many people are going to burn in hell for every dollar made? This movie fucking sucks ass. God, I hate this fucking movie.
Yeah, I'm glad I missed it.
Yeah, should be. You know what? I'm really glad. I'm really, really glad.
Yeah.
And I just watched the video review for this about an hour ago, and I was so glad that you left in the story with me and Cyrus.
Oh yeah, no, that was funny. I'm fascinated by who will walk out of a movie and who won't. Because I tell you, I'll do it rarely, but if a movie's bad enough and it looks like it's not going to get any better, I'll just walk the fuck out. And I've done that. I'll allow myself one movie a year, one, and that's it.
No, the rest of the time you'll check your email on your phone.
Yeah, but I'm still there. I need something to do.
Yeah, well, it was really funny because I didn't think Cyrus was going to cop to it. I thought he was going to be, no, that didn't happen. He's like, no, I cannot tell a lie. That's exactly what happened. And it was funny because I couldn't believe he was like, this wasn't really that bad. It's like, you motherfucker.
Yeah, no. He's actually kind of cool about that. He'll tell you if he's done something crazy in the theater, and in that one, he's kind of like you. He wants to like stay for a lot of movies because he likes that track record. But he's like us. He'll give himself that one a year where he'll say, you know what, I can't take this anymore. And looked like he should have used that one for this movie because I cannot see this movie being any better than what I saw in the trailer. And that clip that I put in there too, nothing but it's John Travolta, Robin Williams, and Seth Green are in the movie. And they actually gave me a clip of them doing nothing but screaming, getting hit in the head, getting hit in the nuts, getting cradled by a gorilla like they're about to be raped by him. And I'm like, wow, that says it all right there. I don't need to see this bullshit. So, yeah, but the movie, it's one of those films that sadly will go on to make a little bit of a profit because it's just kind of like that. Well, it appeals to that low common denominator of people who just don't have any discriminating taste.
But apparently the head guy at Disney who had greenlit this got fired. And apparently people have been talking about how this is like that last film of his that's finally filtering out and how this is exactly why they got rid of this guy.
Oh, I thought you meant like this is his last laugh. Like, okay, you fire me, I'm gonna green like this old dog shit now. You motherfuckers suffer that. But what else did he green light that was so bad? And here's the other thing: why would they fire the guy if they're making money off these kind of movies?
Because Disney is a name brand, and the people at Disney are very smart. Over the years, they've always been very smart. Now, they've had bad periods, but they know that their brand name is worth more than anything else, that they're all about the long game and playing. They want not to play the box office for this year. They're worried about the box office for the next 10 years. And every generation that grows up with Disney films being the mark of crap is a generation that isn't going to turn to their films in the future and take their kids to see them. They want the Disney brand to be top notch every time. So every time you walk into a Disney film, you're walking into something special, and that's not what this guy was doing. I mean, think of the live action Disney films from the last few years. Name one.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Pirates of the Caribbean was what, 5-6 years ago?
You said over the past 10 years, though, didn't you?
No. I said over the past few years. Like ever since the third Pirates film, they haven't made a splash. They haven't really. I mean, they've had some movies that have profited, but not that ultimately built the brand.
Escape to Witch Mountain remake
didn't do all that well, and wasn't really well reviewed. No, it wasn't a gangbuster.
No, but I don't think they meant for it to be. And it wasn't the Miley Cyrus movie, the concert movie. Wasn't that theirs? That's a Disney. Yeah, that's Disney's. It wasn't.
Yeah, Miley... but that wasn't the feature. That wasn't the feature film division. That's who this guy was. This is the guy who ran the live action feature division.
Yeah, I guess I haven't paid too much attention, so yeah, I don't know. But
lots of people have been celebrating the fact that this guy's gone as a result of Old Dog.
What's the guy's name? Do you know?
I don't even remember. I've seen it a couple times and it just filtered through because it's like, well, he's gone now. Why do I need to remember his name?
You know, it's like cutting off the head of one of the Hydras. I mean, it's going to be another guy taking his place and making some.
That's
shit
not
like
true. Disney's been really weird about that. They've had periods where they've just had some really great stuff, and then periods where it's not so great again. They had that period about 5 years ago where they had some really cool stuff coming out that was, you know, very different. Like what was that Paul Walker film we all liked? 8 Below.
Oh yeah, no. Disney has gone through that a lot. I mean, they went through that period. I think some of that is what spurred them to create like what is it? Their adult half of like Hollywood Pictures and Touchstone, because they were going through periods where they weren't making money. I remember even the studio, the animation studio, they were about to make a really monumental mistake by closing down their animation department and just going live action with a spot of animation here and there. And then that's when they brought in Jeffrey Katzenberg, who kind of saved the studio. Like I think The Little Mermaid is the one that brought it back around. So yeah, and I mean, I know Disney goes through periods like that. I just thought like these movies, if they're making money, you know, what's the big deal? But oh well. If they want to save the brand, then great. Good for them. But it can't hurt if they're going to be making movies like Old Dogs. Yeah, get that fuck out of there as soon as possible. So anyway, number 3.
The number 3 film of the week is...
Okay, holding strong at number 3 is 2012. Brought in a flat $18 million this week and has overall grossed $138.8 million.
Yeah, it did 25.5 over the 5 days. And it's you know what? It's doing, it's at 138 domestically, but worldwide, it's made a lot. I think it crossed 450 million this weekend.
Oh yeah, no, the movie's
it's
great.
Absurd.
Yeah, I mean, it's at 200 million. The movie's made a profit already worldwide. It's hey, look, it's one of those movies. I keep telling people, look, I don't encourage these kind of films, but it's that rare special effects driven movie that people they know going in. I'm just gonna see a bunch of shit destroy, blow up, fall apart in grand spectacle, and that's all I want to see. I can't blame people for criticizing the movie. Won't recommend it to people, but I enjoyed it. I see why people are going to see it. I know you hated it though.
Oh yeah, no, it was a total piece of shit. I mean, I get why people watch it, and everybody. This is the way to see it. It's one of those films that everybody goes, yeah, it looks really shitty, and then they go, but if I'm going to see it, I need to see it big, and so they go and see it in a theater.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not going to have longevity. It's not going to be a film that 10 years from now people are like, oh, well, it's no 2012. But right now, people are going to see it, and that's, you know.
No. Watching it on DVD, Blu-ray, TV, whatever, it is a total piece of shit. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's not even funny how ridiculous this movie is. But, hey, got to see it on the big screen for full effect. Number 2.
Number 2 film of the week is...
The Blind Side. Everybody loves Sandra Bullock. Yeah, Sandra Bullock has pulled it up, man. I think last week was the movie number 2. Yeah, it was number 2 last week and has remained at number 2. What's that?
This is a big surprise. This is a big surprise hit this season. People are going nuts for this thing.
Yeah. Oh, in fact, on Thursday it was number 1. It was actually being seen more than Twilight, and it brought in for the weekend $40.1 million. It is up to $100 million.
It did 57.5 for the 5 day.
Yeah, okay.
We're talking over those 2 days, Thanksgiving. Wednesday and then Thanksgiving, it made that an additional 17 million. And you know what? This is one of those films. It kills me. I should have gone to this screening. And after sitting in and listening to the guys talk about this, I should have seen it.
And what makes you think that?
Oh, because I just watched it this weekend.
You got the screener.
Yeah, and a buddy of mine tweeted, "Hey, I'm thinking about going to check out Blindside at the theater. Who wants to come with me?" And I was like, "Dude, I got it on DVD. Why don't you come on over? We'll have a couple beers and we'll watch it. I've been needing an excuse to watch it anyway." And so he came over and I watched it, and it's a good movie. I liked it. I see why people are going nuts for this thing. It's adorable.
See, we all had problems with it, and I won't even get into it because of social problems, social issue, racial problems, and whatnot. But we did say it's an enjoyable film, and Sandra Bullock is great in the movie. Everybody loves Sandra Bullock.
What racial issues do you have?
Oh man, don't even get me started. We already beat this to death. Last week we talked about it in length.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And I don't want people writing in getting all upset and shit. Not that people did it last week. Actually, people were pretty cool and they saw our point. And Cyrus was the one that brought it up. You know, I think that's why people didn't jump on me and Leon, because Cyrus was the one that first mentioned it, and we were like, well, yeah, we feel that way too. But like I said, if you want to hear people, go and listen to last week's podcast. I'm not gonna get into it. I can't say I'm happy the movie's doing that well because it's not that kind of movie that I like for it to do well for the reasons we mentioned last week. But I did like Sandra Bullock in it. The movie has, like I said, grossed over 2 weeks $100 million, man, and it's
$29 million movie.
Yeah, $29 million, man.
In fact, they're advertising football games with this movie. Have you seen that commercial?
Yes, I have.
Where they're just like, watch him play this Sunday.
Oh, they do. They've been doing that with a lot of things. They were doing that with basketball. I mean, some of the movies that would come out, they would show, like, I think at one time they even did with Blade. They showed Blade running around, and then they showed basketball players going and playing hoops and shit.
The guy who the movie's about was playing in a game on Sunday.
So
they showed footage of him being drafted onto the Baltimore Ravens, and then they're using that to advertise the Baltimore Ravens game that was playing on NBC.
And I knew they would do that. I mean, why wouldn't they? You know what I mean?
Oh no, it was brilliant. And to tie it in, because it's really an adorable movie, and to the audience that it's geared for, which arguably isn't you guys. But for the audience that it's for, like people like my mom loved this movie. She cried through the whole thing. She just thought it was a great film. So it was one of those things that I watched it and I'm like, you know what? This is a good little movie. I see why everyone's digging it. It's definitely a John Lee Hancock film.
Yeah, and that's the guy that did The Alamo.
Well, The Rookie.
And The Rookie, yeah.
The Alamo was his bad film. The Rookie was his good film.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm going to tell you, because I guess you don't know what our problem is with that movie. And it was all three of our problems. Is it
because the kid's black?
Well, that's part of it, yeah. I mean, the thing is that it's one of those films, and see, my mom would even like this movie. She asked me what I thought about it, because she had seen it, and I knew she had. And I said, I like it, Mom. I know why you think it's a good film, but it's one of those movies where it's, the good white people come in and save, like, the poor black kid, and
it's a true story, and that's exactly what happened. He just happened black.
We don't know if that's exactly what happened. I mean, none of us know if that's exactly what happened. I mean, it's pretty close, because we see the guy, he's playing for the Baltimore Ravens now, but they just make it seem like this kid, it's almost like he's a pet, and I wish they had told it from the point of view of the kid instead of one of those movies that was going to make white people feel unthreatened and feel good about themselves, and it's going to profit on that. It's going to make a lot of money because of that. I don't feel very comfortable watching the film, because even when the guy is obviously smart, he's still walking around like, and it's like, wow.
But that's who the guy is, though.
Yeah, when they showed him at the end of the movie, it's like, wow, he actually seems to have a little more. Just a little more personality than what he did in the movie. And I've seen enough of the guy since the film, because he's everywhere now. And he just doesn't seem that slow. But like I said, had it been from his point of view, I think there would have been more depth to it. But other than that, it's a charity film. Like I said, it's a charity to make white people feel like, oh, we're doing the right things. We don't have to feel threatened by this film. But I'm not going out protesting the film. I'm not boycotting. I'm not marching against it. I'm not even calling the movie racist. I'm not even saying that. I actually did like the movie, and it was a rental to us, so we didn't come out hating the film. And we won't go against the movie by saying, like if let's just say Sandra Bullock got nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress. We won't be like, oh, that's bullshit because that movie was bullshit. We'd be like, no, she was actually very good in the film and she deserves it. Nothing real strong against the movie, just that one little sticking point. But that's just us.
I think she was all right. I mean, she's good, but I don't know if she gets nominated. It's only because it's such a weak crop of roles for females this year.
Yeah, keep in mind I was using that as an example. I wasn't saying she would.
No. This is why they sent it to us, and this is what they're pushing for. Is they want to get her a nomination, and people are starting to talk about it. And she's really not that great. It's just that there's such a thin crop of great roles for women this year that there's not much stand out, not because there aren't good performances, but because none of the films had really great meaty roles for women.
Yeah. And we get these movies from a lot of people, not just for the movies that they want to rally for, that they feel have strong Oscar potential. I mean, because we get movies that there's no way in hell no one's going to consider this for Best Picture, but they send it to us anyway, saying for your consideration, like Sex and the City. I don't know if you remember we got that, but that was like for your consideration.
Yeah, but the thing with the for your consideration is they tell you all these things that they would love for you to nominate it for.
Yeah.
But really, there's one or two things they're hoping for. And with Sex and the City, they were hoping for a Best Actress nomination for what's her name? I'm blanking. Sarah Jessica Parker. Which didn't happen.
Well, that's what we're saying. There's no way in hell they're going to do that. Like I'm looking at District 9 right now, the screener that we got, and they got every category listed in there, just about like Best Picture, Best Director, Best Best Screenplay. And hey, look, if you ask me, if I was running the Academy, District 9 would be up there especially with 10 Best Picture nominations now. It is that, right? 10 Best Picture.
Yeah, and that's kind of what they're hoping for. But the real reason they put it out there is, when it comes to special effects and sound effects editing, it always goes to the big blockbuster films. It's going to go to stuff like Avatar and Transformers. And what they want is the critics to be buzzing about District 9 come Oscar time so that it can be up for, if not win.
No, I know what they're doing. I know they only want they realistically want certain categories. I'm just surprised that they list all that stuff because they know that there's some things they're not going to get Best Picture.
And that's always the comedy to it. I love going through those every year because then you see nominations for people who are terrible in the film. They're like Best Supporting Actor, the robot who with clanging testicles from Transformers 2. Yeah. All right, shut the fuck up. John Turturro does not get an award.
Yeah, exactly. So it's always curious to see that. But hey, keep dreaming, people, because we like getting these DVDs.
Believing.
Yeah, we love getting these screeners. So yeah,
hold
please.
on to that feeling.
So there's some movies I wasn't even crazy about that I've been watching again, but half of that's because I just bought a Blu-ray player. But we'll get into that later.
Okay.
Let's go into number one.
The number one film of the week is, of course,
The Twilight Saga: New Moon.
New Moon
brought in $42.5 million this weekend. How much should it do for the 5-day?
66 million.
$230.7 million so far. 230. That's wow. That's like 1 week.
But that's to be expected.
Of course.
I mean, people are freaking out. They're like, "Oh my god, it's going to do Dark Knight numbers." No, it's not. It's everybody who wanted to see this went to see it right away because it was a we must see this right away kind of movie. It's not a New Moon's coming out, I guess maybe we'll go see it. No, there are two types of people in this world. There are the people who don't want to see this movie, and then there are fucking retards with vaginas. And the fucking retards with vaginas are all rushing out to see this movie.
Stop it now. Let these girls have their vampires shit. I don't see. That's the thing about this movie.
Vampires.
Yeah. And now, this is what I've been telling people. Like the Twilight audiences out there, and especially from what I hear coming up in these other books, like. You heard me say this over and over again. Twilight didn't bother me. Gave it a matinee. I don't care. I considered it for girls and let them have their fucking vampires. Whatever. Guys get everything. But then this movie came along. The more they revealed about it, the more ridiculous the story got. And I was like, okay, this is not all that good, but not hating on it. Whatever. It doesn't bother me enough to like keep going on and on about it. Now, at this point, the Twilight people, they were kind of annoying, but whatever. They saw the movie and they shut up and they went about their way. it's these people that fucking hate the movie that kind of keep things going. And I'm just like, let's just slow down a little bit. You had your day to make fun of these people. Just fucking stop, because you're not helping the situation.
Yeah, in fact, there are people. The problem is that the people who are hating on it are actually being gargantuan dicks about it. It's gotten really bizarre to where I have to kind of side with the Twilight girls, because at least most of the Twilight girls are like, shut up, I like it, okay? I know it's stupid, I know it's retarded, but I like it, okay? And it's like, all right, cool. I've got one of the I always forget that she's one of the league, because, I mean, you need a fucking list and a dictionary to figure out how many people are actually in the league. But Kayla went and saw Twilight, and I ran into her in line coming out of a film, and she was standing there, and she was all excited about it. I'm like, come on, you're here for this? And she's like, yeah. She's like, I know it's stupid, I know it's retarded, but you know what? I can't wait to see it. It looks terrible, and I'm going to have a good time. And it's like, all right, see, if that's how you go in, look, I love Hackers. Hackers is a terrible, terrible movie, but I love the shit out of it. Why? Because Angelina Jolie was never hotter than she was in that movie, and it's got nerds flying through fucking computers, and it's crazy, and it's stupid, and all right, I fucking love it. This is your Hackers, cool. But there are those girls who really, really love it. And those are the ones where it's kind of like step back, because I've gotten a few emails from people who are like, I read your review and it doesn't make any sense. Clearly you haven't read the books. Have you read the books at all? Because if you had, then you know this happened and that happened and this happened.
Fuck that book. Why you got to read the book? I'm coming to see a movie. I shouldn't have to read the book. You know what? I didn't finish reading the fucking Road, and I saw the movie and it was great. I don't need the fucking book all the time.
Yeah, so you've got that. But then you have these assholes. Did you see this this Twilight vampire intervention thing that was going around last week?
Wait a minute, is that the one that we brought up? Because we've been talking about that, where the guy bought out the theater, gave people passes and told them that they were coming to see Twilight. Yeah, we've been talking about that major, man. And
what a fucking asshole!
No, that wasn't funny. I actually watched it and thinking like, okay, I've been talking shit about this guy, but maybe if I watch it, I might think it's funny. And I watched it, I was even more upset when I saw it. And I was like, no, this isn't funny, man.
Yeah, it was cruel. It was that's the only word for it, is it's cruel. And it's one thing to laugh at other people's expense. I mean, we do that all the time. People do that with us. It's part of comedy. But to actually get somebody that geared up, people waited in line for hours. There's one person on the video who's like, I was offered so much money for this, but I wasn't going to give it up. And made me wonder how many people were there that did offer money. Can you imagine somebody who paid their buddy $500 for those tickets to go in and get screamed at by an unfunny douchebag?
The only thing I can say is that there wasn't one person in that audience that got up to beat this guy's ass, because the guy ain't that big, and he's obviously just some just smart ass asshole. And I was thinking, wow, you could tell what kind of audience is made for this movie, because
white.
What? Not even that. You can tell.
Let's be honest. You would never do that shit to a black audience.
No. Well, I can see even some fucking hillbilly in there who I brought my girl to see this. I'm gonna kick your fucking ass. But no, it was like a bunch of fucking emo vampire wannabe kids, and none of them did that shit but take it. And I was like, look, I'm not gonna blame y'all because you are victims here, but one person should have got up and slapped the fuck out this guy. Not one person. If I had been there and I brought my daughter, I'd be mad.
With all the cameras running around.
Even better.
No, you say even better.
I know.
It's one of those situations where you've got that social awkwardness, and you want to get up and tear his fucking throat out, but you know that you're going to be arrested, and they've probably got cops waiting to arrest somebody in case they pull shit. And they've got video evidence. What the fuck are you going to do?
Wait for his ass behind the theater and wait for him to get in his car?
Might have happened.
Yeah. That would be so funny if a bunch of emo kids just ganged up on his ass, like real vampires. Tore his ass apart.
What I've actually found amusing is how many people really hate the shit out of this guy now. That this, he's just getting torn apart, and this is totally backfired on him. He thought he was being funny and going to be a champion of the anti-Twilight movement, and instead he's become the example of rampant douchebaggery on the internet. No, everyone's stepping away from that guy. It's like, yeah, we kind of got to hang out with the Twi moms.
Yeah, because look, what he did was a dickish thing, and there's no way around it. And anybody that defended him, and I'm sure that there were people who tried to at first until the backlash came. Anybody that agrees with this guy is a fucking dick themselves. Co-host was saying that the studio should have sued him, and I told him that what the studio should have done is gave him a taste of his own medicine. They should have told him he was coming to see Avatar, and he walks into the theater, and there's a studio executive waiting there. And somebody, a summons who says to serve him his papers and be like, you've been served, you're being sued, fucker, because you fucked with our movie, and then leave. And I think that would have been some great poetic justice had they done that to that guy.
Yeah, I think the best poetic justice is the fact that the people who hate Twilight hate him too.
Yeah,
that's justice for you.
Well, you know what? I have to say this. At least that guy, he brought the haters and the lovers of Twilight together. One common thing.
He's like the George Bush of the internet. All the people who normally are arguing and fighting can come together in one united voice and say, fuck you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know what? That's a good comparison. He is like the George Bush. The Democrats and Republicans could agree this is a fuck up right here. Yeah, the haters and the lovers of Twilight, they were like, okay, we might not get along with everything, but we all agree this guy's an asshole.
But now the other thing that went around that I found funny was there's a really great picture of a bunch of old cougars going nuts at one of the Twilight premieres, and it's got the tagline, let's face it, if these were 40-year-old men screaming for a 17-year-old girl, somebody would have called the cops already.
What? Wait a minute, there were a bunch of cougars who were hanging out talking about were they targeting them?
They had signs and they're like, we love you, Edward, and and crying and flipping out as part of this whole throng of people who are obsessing over these 17-year-old boys. And
yeah, no, it's illegal. I'm not gonna even try to go around that, but fuck, man, do you know how many 17-year-old boys wish they had these hot moms coming after them? I wish I did.
Well, yeah, but you love cougars. I mean, that's always been your thing.
No, I love everything. I like the way it switches with everybody each week. I love underage girls one week. The next week I love cougars.
Underage girls is a staple that any guy you can joke about underage girls, but you have always had a thing for cougars.
Man, I've always had a thing for women. That's the funny thing. Just because I accept the cougars, it doesn't mean that I have a thing for them or a fetish for them. I just embrace all kinds of women.
You do. Every time we talk about bars and somebody goes, oh, I hate that place, that's just a cougar bar, that ends up being one of the places you hang out.
Like where?
I'm blanking on the title.
Because there is no place like that.
No, that's not true. God, you're going to make me try to remember names of bars.
No, I can tell you how this stuff came along because I would say things like, I wouldn't discriminate what was that movie with Keanu Reeves where he was with Diane Wiest? Not Diane Wiest. Who's the other one? Annie Hall. Who's the actress that plays Annie Hall?
Oh, I'm blanking on her name all of a sudden.
But you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
She was in that movie with Jack Nicholson and Keanu Reeves, and everybody was talking about, and I was kind of exaggerating. I don't really want that actress, whatever her name is, but Diane Keaton. Yeah, Diane Keaton. I don't really want Diane Keaton, but I would joke around and say, hey, I'll take her. Why not? Because it was just funny to say. And from that point on, it's kind of been like, oh shit, he has a thing for the cougars, which I do. But I have a thing for the younger girls too.
When what's his name, your British sidekick, came to town for 3 weeks.
Oh, my man, Nick Hodges.
Nick Hodges. He came to town, and he was talking about all the bars that you took him to. Because you kept taking him out to all these various places to drink, and they were all cougar bars.
No, they were not. That's not true.
And he was even complaining about all the old chicks at all the bars you went to.
That's not true. He just was not satisfied with any place we took him. Because I took him down to 6th Street.
That is exactly what he told me.
No, because I took him down to 6th Street. And when we went down there, I took him down where you find the youngest girls, probably jailbait down there. And he still wasn't fucking satisfied. Oh, you know what? Here's some movies that did not make it to the top 5 that came out this week.
Quite a few interesting films that didn't make the top 5, actually.
Some of them that we knew, they were good movies, but we knew they would not actually make the top 5. Some movies like The Fantastic Mr. Fox, which is number 9, but we knew that wasn't going to be a mainstream movie, and it wasn't going to be in the top 5. Didn't even make a whole lot of money, though. Brought in
I was surprised by how little it did. It only made $10 million over the weekend, over the 5-day.
I kind of expected that for the movie, though. Unfortunately, I didn't want to say anything bad about it, and hurt his chances. Like, yeah, because I carry that much weight around here. But the other movie that I knew wasn't going to get any kind of big release, therefore wouldn't make it in the top 5, is The Road, which brought in so far $2 million. And
it brought in $2 million, but that was only on 111 screens.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It had an $18,000 per screen average, which is pretty goddamn great.
Yeah, which on the other hand, that's why I'm saying I'm not worried about The Road, because it did, like you're right, per screen average, fine. Unlike the Fantastic Mr. Fox, which was in over 2,000 screens, they didn't perform all that well. But what are you gonna do? And Ninja Assassins, now that was a movie, or Ninja Assassin, that was a movie that was in the top 5 throughout the weekend, and then on Sunday fell down to number 6.
In fact, I'm really curious to see what the actual numbers are, because of all the other numbers this weekend, that's the one that's a nice even number. It's like $21 million, $10,000.
Yeah,
that's a little too even of an estimate, I think. And Warner Brothers has done this before. Warner Brothers is notorious for fudging their results by $2 or $3 million during the weekend, in order to try to maintain a presence in the top 5. And then once we get the real numbers on Monday or Tuesday, then that's when everyone kind of shrugs and goes, oh, I guess it really wasn't at that place.
Yeah, and, well, the movie cost $40 million to make, and this is a movie that none of us were crazy about, but
it was stinky.
Yeah, I didn't like the movie too much at all, man. I thought it was just kind of dumb, but it does stand to do well. But worldwide, it'll do very well on DVD. So,
sure. I mean, it'll make its money, but it not with dignity. It's just a really boring fucking film.
Yeah, it is. Just they so much potential for that movie, man, to be more than what it is. Sad days.
Oh, stop it.
So, over the holidays, I braved Black Friday, which was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. And I went out and got myself a PlayStation 3, which has the Blu-ray player on there. And look, I'm not the kind of person that felt the need, like, if I don't have a Blu-ray player or a high-def television, I'm not part of this century. But I feel like I've just had a breath of fresh air in my lungs getting this thing, man. I had a TV for so long, because I don't watch a whole lot of TV. I really need a TV for editing. That's all I needed for. And I had a little TV that was it was so old, it was a VCR TV combination.
Yeah, that thing was a piece of shit.
Oh, yeah. But it did me well for a few years, but this last year, it was just sick. I mean, that poor thing, it was just chugging along. And one day it just looked at me and said, Corey, I can't do it anymore. Just put me down. So I took it in the backyard and shot it.
I had a girlfriend like that at one point.
Oh, really? Did you shoot her too?
Yeah.
Put out of misery?
Yeah.
Oh, man, this TV was trying so hard to play an image, and it got to a point where it was just nothing but snow. You could see something, but it would do this annoying thing where it would like just never catch on. So I said, fuck it. One day I was at Target. They had an Apex television. Now, if you don't know the brand Apex, I had an Apex DVD player. Those things, they might not be the best, but they last for a long time, and they're good enough, and the price is pretty reasonable, if not just downright cheap sometimes. So they had one on sale, and I was like, all right, you know what, I'm gonna get that. Took it home, and I played some DVDs on it, and I was like, wow, if a DVD looks this good on this kind of television, what would a Blu-ray player be like? So on Black Friday, I got my ass up, and I took my nephew over to Target, and they had a line, and this is in Waco. They had a line going around the corner.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, fuck this, man. There's people waiting out in the cold. So I said, you know what? I'm here at 5 in the morning. I have nothing to do. Let me go ahead and go over to Walmart and see what's going on over there. And I expected Walmart to be worse. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Walmart. In fact, I kind of felt bad being at the store buying something, because I'm not the biggest fan of Walmart. But don't let me be a hypocrite. I'm not on my high horse here. I was there, whatever. So Walmart had their shit together, though, man. I got to admit.
They have to. That's the thing, is after what happened last year.
Oh, they trampled that person to death?
Well, somebody gets trampled almost every year. Last year was different because it was actually a guy in a security position. Now, the really sad thing was he actually wasn't a security guard. He was an overnight stalker that they had forced into being temporary security. And once he got trampled to death, that just caused a chain reaction. Everywhere this weekend, there were people out there making sure that people were in lines. When they had special deals, you had to get in a line for that deal.
Yeah.
Because I went out, I decided to go out as well. Like I've been talking about, my sleep schedule was all fucked up, and I woke up on Black Friday at about.
You went? The person who said, "I'm not doing that shit." You went?
I woke up at 6 a.m. I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do? I'm like, you know what? I'm going to head out to Fry's. It's been open for an hour already. I'm just going to go there. The craziness is over. It'll be packed, but I'll see if I can get any good deals. If I can, I won't be heartbroken. And so I wandered around in Fry's and got a couple good deals. I did some Christmas shopping, and I missed out on the big stuff. They had like a laptop for $300 that I missed out on, and they had an HD 24-inch HD monitor for $200 that I missed out on.
Yeah.
But that's the only place I went. I mean, I saw the other places. But I didn't have any major shopping, and I wasn't going to go right when they opened because that's when the badness happens. So, yeah, I went out to Fry's and I did some shopping, and I ended up buying my wife a new computer because she's been needing a computer to do photo editing on.
Ah, gotcha. That's cool. That's cool you found something, man. I mean, where I was, I was in Waco, and they sold out of those PS3s fast. I don't know if they got some more in because I was here in Austin, and I saw and the reason why they were selling the PS3s at $299 because that's the regular price for them. The reason why they were selling them at Walmart for that much is because they were bundled with 2 games in a Blu-ray disc. And I saw them again when I came back to Austin. They had some more. I don't know if they pulled them back out or what, but they ran out in Waco. And I was in line. And so you're in line inside the store. It's warm. You're hanging out with some cool people, actually, which I didn't think so because I thought like these are some of the trashiest people that would be out there. And you get in line and you get your stuff. And I was out of there and went to go pick up my nephew. And he brought himself a television. And we were like real happy, man. I was like, well, I don't want to do this every year. But for my first Black Friday, it's not that bad.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
I can't believe the people who camp out. Now, my mom was telling me there are people who camped out in front of Target like for a day and a half. And I'm like, you got to be out your fucking mind.
Day and a half. If somebody did a day and a half, they actually missed Thanksgiving. And that's kind of shitty. And
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The big thing that it comes down to, and what you really have to ask yourself, is when it comes to Black Friday, is the savings you're going to get on an item worth the time that you're going to invest into it?
Yeah, is it worth your fucking dignity?
Well, no, I mean, dignity is one thing. I mean, come on, we do this for money. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, but we ain't camping out in fucking Target for this shit. I mean, you camping out for a television? Come on.
But if you camp out for an hour to get a deal on a TV, okay. Once you've invested 5-6 hours into it, you start computing your hourly wage into that. You get to a point where it's like you're no longer saving money.
Yes.
You're pumping time into this like it was a job. And now for some people it's great. Like the families that do it and they orchestrate it and they're like, okay, you go here, you go here, you go here. We're going to grab all the big cool deals if they happen to need all that stuff. But half of those deals are kind of shit. It's like, here's the stuff we need to get off our shelves, or here's the stuff that's not all that great. Now, occasionally you get something cool like the PS3 deal.
Yeah.
But then again, the PS3 deal is there because the price on Xboxes and Wii's just went down. So it kind of has to go down in some way, shape, or form.
I tell you, though, man, that PS3 that I got, that is... I'm loving it, man. It came with 2 games. One called Infamous, which I wanted to play, and I'm having fun with that. But it came with Batman: Arkham Asylum.
Oh yeah,
and it's like when you play that game, it is like you are fucking Batman. I don't have to dress up in my bat suit and run around the city anymore. I can play this shit and feel like I'm
your
Batman.
bat underwear.
And shit, if I got on that much, and on this TV, it looks fucking incredible, and I'm having a blast. I'm like, what took me so long to get here? Oh, and I watched. Here's the thing, man. When you play a regular DVD on a Blu-ray player and you have the HDMI cable, your DVDs look better.
Oh yeah, no, I watch all my DVDs when I get a chance through my HD player, run through my HD projector, run through my Blu-ray player.
I watched Coraline today, and that is the first movie that I put on
I've got that on Blu-ray.
Oh, see, that's the first movie that I put on to the first DVD that I put on to watch on the Blu-ray player. And I was like, oh well, it's probably not gonna look that great, but I put it in there, and I was like, God damn, this is vibrant. The colors in this. I was having the best time today with this fucking TV, man. I hate to be so materialistic because there's people who don't have shit, but oh man, this is the kind of shit that makes you stay in your house. Like you don't have to leave.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I dig it. Now, now you've got the so you've got Netflix, so now you can stream Netflix right through your PS3.
Well, I have an Xbox also. If people don't know me that well, I'm a gamer. Yes, I am. I know, childish, whatever. But so you can stream Netflix through your Xbox. For the PS3, you actually have to get a DVD that allows for that to happen. So I guess I got to get a DVD from Netflix, which is no problem. I can get one easy. But it's a trade-off.
I forgot you had the 360 that you can stream it through.
Yeah, and I haven't done it yet with that, but I'm so in love with this PS3 over here that I'm probably going to start doing it with that. And it's easier to get online with the PS3 too. I mean, it's a lot of fun, man. And it came with the Dark Knight. We know the Dark Knight is 2.5 hours, and it looks so good on this television. I watched that motherfucker 2.5 times already in a matter of 24 hours.
That is a pretty movie.
Yeah, oh, man. And let me tell you something. Speaking of best movies, you can call me shallow. You can call me crazy. But
I often do.
I mean, you often do. But for this reason, you would actually agree with me right here. You would say, because looking at that, having seen it twice in a row, I'm like, okay, this is one of the best movies of the decade, man. Not comic book movies. This is one of the few perfect movies that I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah, I compiled a list of the top 10 best films of the decade that I'm working on writing out, and The Dark Knight is one of them, easily. But when it came out, we knew that. I mean, it was one of those films that I remember I got yelled at by a bunch of fanboys when I compared it to The Godfather and said that this is the Godfather of this generation, that it was going to catch on, and that it was going to have an impact cinematically and on the culture. And people were like, stop building it up, man. It can't be that good. Oh, yeah, we know Dark Knight cures cancer. And then the movie came out and everybody lost their fucking monkey minds, just like we did. Because we just, it's not like we were prophets or anything. It just turned out to be fucking awesome and, melted our ball sacks off. Yeah, it's easily one of the best films of the decade.
Oh, my God. I was like, the movie has everything going for it. Forget that it's a comic book movie, man. The direction in this is wonderful. The acting is superb. I mean, the story is tight, and it's 2.5 fucking hours, and I felt every minute of it. Like, some people said it was too long. I was like, man, when I stopped, I was like, this is half my day gone, but let's watch this shit again.
It kind of, it's not as bad as Casino Royale in doing this, but it kind of has a fourth act.
No, it does, and I don't mind that though. I guess some people did mind it, but it had. And I understand what people say, that they thought that like you said, that fourth act just prolonged it a little bit too much. But at that time, we got to delve into another character that was introduced late in the movie, and I found that character pretty fascinating. I found the special effects around that character pretty fascinating. We're talking about Two-Face, and I was like, this feels like it's another little movie starting, but I like it. I just love everything about that movie, man. And so, yeah, and watching it on a Blu-ray player on a nice television, and you got to keep in mind, I mean, I've been like a man in the desert for so long. I've been watching this shitty little television that I'm like the guy. I'm like the native that's been living in the Incan jungle, and somebody just introduced like electronic light to me, or a flashlight or something. Like, oh wow, pretty! I can't believe this, and I'm just blown away, man. I'm having the best time in here. Yeah, have you played Arkham Asylum already?
No, I've watched a little bit of it. They're not making it for the Wii, and the Wii is the only third-gen platform that I have.
Oh, yeah, you'd love it, man. It's a fun game. Anyway, why don't we go ahead and get into some email?
I think we can.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to read your email now, or you want to
No,
wait?
Go ahead, because I haven't even pulled it up yet.
All right. Ricky Carrer asks, Can you guys recommend some good Christmas movies that aren't just about Christmas, like Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, Gremlins?
Wow, that's a good question, and you took one of my answers because.
Well, he took almost all the really good answers. That's the problem. Is you know what I'd recommend? I'd recommend Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, and
Gremlins.
And no, I'd actually add in. There's a few other ones. The one that I watch every year that I absolutely love is Love Actually.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna name that.
Well, because it's the Love Actually also is on my top 10 list of best films of the decade. Incredible film, really great movie.
You thought that was an incredible film, one of the best of the decade?
Yeah.
Okay.
You'd know that me and my wife watch it every Christmas Eve. That's our Christmas Eve movie. I took her to see it in the theater. She didn't go and see it with me at the screening, and I fell in love with it. And I took her to see it on Christmas Eve when it was playing, and we got it on DVD when it came out the next year. And ever since then, we've watched it every Christmas Eve, and we look forward to it. We love that film, and it's got this growing fan base. It's starting to show on TV every year. They're doing marathons of it. People are starting to discover it and realizing just how good it is, because it's a really smart film.
I just don't see it. I don't like that movie. I mean, it's okay.
Well, you don't like romantic comedies.
You keep saying that, but I do like romantic comedies.
You like the occasional romantic comedy. The thing about Love Actually is a film that is a thesis on romantic comedies. It is 10 different romantic comedies boiled down into vignettes that hit all of the shorthand that you get in those feature films, and they're woven together into one story that is all about all the various types of love that exists in the world, how great that love can be, how painful that love is, and at the same time, they're having fun with every type of romantic comedy that exists. From the teen sex comedy is in there, all the way up to the mature indie style comedy about growing old, to the goofy 10-year-old in love story. I mean, every kind of romantic comedy exists in this film, and that's all it is. And if you're not positively in love with romantic comedies, you cannot connect with this film. Like you always like to argue that no, you like romantic comedies because you like the occasional romantic comedy, but you don't love romantic comedies.
No, I don't love them as a genre where I'm a little more discriminating. But no, that doesn't say that. There's a difference between saying I don't like romantic comedies or I like the occasional. I mean, it's like just because I don't love every romantic comedy that comes out doesn't mean I don't like romantic comedies. I mean, there have been some.
It's okay to not like country, but like the occasional Garth Brooks song. And that's what it's like with you in romantic comedies.
Sonia, I don't think it's that way with me in romantic comedies either.
You always argue that, but you can find maybe one romantic comedy a year that you actually liked.
Well, there's a lot of them that just don't stick in my head, but that doesn't mean that I didn't hate them, that I hated them when I saw them.
I didn't say you hate them, but you just don't like them. I can think of one romantic comedy that you really enjoyed this year.
What's that?
Ghosts of Girlfriends Past.
Yeah, and even that's from a male point of view. So in your defense, I wouldn't even argue.
It's still a romantic comedy, even though it was written by the guys who wrote The Hangover. That's another one that I would mention. It's not actually a Christmas movie because it takes place a few weeks after Christmas, but it's built on A Christmas Carol. And that also fits in with the question that we were initially asked.
Yeah, I don't really. I can't think of anything right now. I know I will when it's over with. That there are some movies that take place around Christmas that Christmas isn't the center subject of it. But I can't think of anything right now. So yeah, I'm just gonna have to say pass on that.
Yeah, Die Hard and Die Hard 2 are really two of the best.
Yeah,
I mean, I really
and Gremlins would have been my answer of choice. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, Gremlins is another good one. Although Christmas plays in much more into the plot than Die Hard does.
But it's not a Christmas movie.
No, it's not a Christmas movie.
That's what I think he's saying. It's like, what are some movies? I can't think of anything right now.
Well, he really did kind of pick the best ones. And then Love Actually, of course. So, but those are the ones.
All right.
So you got yourself a question?
Yeah, I do. This is from Sammy Jenkins, and he says, as the years progress, we see a little more skin and sex in films. There have been some mainstream movies here and there with full male or female frontal, like Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Eastern Promises, and 28 Days Later. And he says, do you think there will be a day when there will be mainstream blockbuster films with an uncensored, unsimulated sex scene? Or at least a day where full nudity is common and no big deal. I think we're getting there where full nudity is probably no big deal. But as far as having like real sex on screen? No, they would never do that because there's a whole different rating for that right now.
Well, there's two things. First of all, it is a big deal when there's that full frontal nudity. That's why they do it. That's why we've talked about it. When Forgetting Sarah Marshall, it was done for comedy. In the scene with Eastern Promises with Viggo Mortensen, it was done to kind of showcase the severity and the brutality of the scene in question. There's never a time when somebody appears fully nude on screen and everybody just kind of shrugs it off and goes, okay. That was the worst part of The Hangover, was the nude scene with the 90-year-old guy fucking butt ass naked there in the doctor's office.
What my point is that I think it's getting to the point now where we see full frontal of men and nobody is really taken aback anymore. As long as the guy doesn't have an erection, they can show that. And people are getting used to that now. And there have been women who have argued saying, look, you see women all the time in movies where the guys get to see them naked, and they never did want to show men before. They didn't want to show the penis. And now that's not a taboo anymore. There was a time where the movie would have been probably an NC-17 or an X if we had shown a guy's penis on the screen. And now the ratings board is starting to let that pass. As far as and they're even getting very graphic with sex in movies, but they're not showing they're not, as far as we know, real sex scenes. I know that it was a debate whether or not in that movie with Mickey Rourke and that chick from the Cosby Show, Lisa Bonet. What was the name of that movie? It was an Alan Parker film. Robert De Niro played the devil.
Oh, Angel Heart.
Angel Heart. There was a debate on whether or not they were actually having sex on camera, and that
was it Last Tango in Paris that happened as well.
The one with Marlon Brando.
Yeah, that was a debate then as well. I mean, we're never going to see it, at least not anytime soon, for a number of reasons. First and foremost, the fact that we have a contingent of ultra conservative Christians in this country that just start letter writing campaigns. They have nothing better to do than to try to keep this stuff out of theaters. And personally, I think that's fine. Especially in this day and age, you're never going to see that in a mainstream blockbuster feature film because you can get that at home and we can get it to you discreetly. The reason why there was always sex and nudity in films before was it was not readily available. It was titillating, and that would bring people in. But what we're finding now is that people have their porn at home and they want porn. When they go to the movie theater, they want to see a movie, and being titillated isn't why most of us go to the movie theater.
Well, the other thing is, like, why would we want to see a actual full sex scene, like with penetration and everything? Because it does turn into pornography. And guess what? When people watch that, they want to watch it for about a minute or two, jerk off, and then they're done. We don't want. That's why movies.
And not even jerk off. Sometimes it's kind of fucking boring or it's kind of gross.
Well,
think about that sex scene in Leaving Las Vegas. Imagine if that were a real sex scene.
Yeah, and there's
where he's like twitching there and dying under Elizabeth Shue.
Yeah, what point would it serve to switch cameras, show the penis and the vagina hooking up with each other, and then cut back? I mean, that's for a movie with a story that deep. I mean, a mainstream film, that's an interruption of the story. Now, we do have some movies where they play it in there, but those are more like art films. Like the guy did, he went and named some movies here that have done that, such as Short Bus and 9 Songs, 2 movies that are well known for that. I haven't seen Short Bus, but 9 Songs, I've seen it. And guess what? The movie is kind of boring. Me, who loves women, loves sex, watches this movie, and then I look at it and I say, you know what? Why am I more interested in the bands in the movie than I am of the sex in the film?
Now, it's funny that you mentioned that because 9 Songs is one of the very first animated reviews we did back in the day, back when we were still doing it as The Real Deal. And if I remember correctly, that movie was boring, but you had it on video and watched it 3 times.
Let me say this. I do actually like the movie now, and it's not because of the sex. And I'll be the first to tell you, look, I look at sex stuff all the time. I look at porn all the time. But that movie, that's the thing. The movie, it pales in comparison to what you can get on the internet. It's just 2 people having sex, and they're like 2 average people, which I admire. The girl is kind of hot, but it's like, whatever. This is not all that titillating. But I watch the movie now because for some reason it reminds me of relationships that I've been in with girls, and I liked the music in the movie, and there was a time when I actually went and looked up every song in that movie and pretty much bought the soundtrack by piecing it together off of iTunes. So I mean, sex. I don't. It's still at the point now where actually like real sex and stories in Hollywood movies, they don't serve each other that well. The art film occasionally, yeah. That's what I think, at least. But you want to move on to another question of yours?
Do you have one more? We've run out of time.
Well, I do have one more. I mean, because people are going to complain if we don't at least read like 3 of these. So let's see. This is from somebody that I don't recognize. It is Sneedham. Now, you sure you don't want to read a Twitter question? Because this one is kind of, okay. Let's see. Yo, just a question. And I don't see a fucking question mark in here anywhere. So.
Oh, well, then I'll rather than that, I'll ask
this
question.
Wait a minute. I got it. Since we're already reading the guy's question, here he is. He says, I was wondering, why does. Oh, okay, fuck that. No, go ahead. This is not, please, go ahead.
Land of Lost Minds asks, do you know any movies where the alternate ending is better than the theatrical ending?
Wait a minute. What is that again?
Wants to know what movies we think have a better alternate ending than the actual ending that we saw in theaters.
Oh, well, just recently speaking, now I haven't seen the ending, but I heard about the alternate ending to Paranormal Activity, and it sounds better than the ending that I saw in the movie.
Okay.
Yeah, I won't tell anybody what it is. Look it up for yourself because a lot of people still haven't seen the film.
God, alternate endings. There's a number of alternate endings that I like. Rarely do I think that the alternate ending was better. You know what movie comes immediately to mind? That movie, They. Remember that movie about the Wes Craven produced horror film from years back, where the people kept getting pulled into their closets and killed by these strange beings?
Yeah, I never saw it.
Oh, okay. Well, the movie had an alternate ending, and the alternate ending was actually kind of interesting. And the alternate ending was that she was actually crazy, and that all the characters in the film were people who were in the lunatic asylum with her. They were either doctors or fellow patients, and it was a very Wizard of Oz coming back to Kansas moment, as everything kind of pieces together and you find out that she's really insane. And I liked the ending and the execution of the ending. It's not worth tracking down this film and watching it because it wasn't a good film at all. But I did kind of like that alternate ending better than the real ending. And the alternate ending to Joyride is a completely different film.
And I actually like that movie too.
Joyride was fun, but the alternate ending is actually better. In fact, the alternate ending is somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes. Like, it deviates in the entire third act was completely reshot, and I actually like the alternate ending better. I enjoyed that version much better. And, of course, not an actual alternate ending per se, but something that I should just bring up anyway because I can't I've already mentioned 2 of the others. One of the other best films of the decade that made my top 10 list was the director's cut of Kingdom of Heaven.
Yeah, I remember you liked that movie.
I keep talking about that, and I keep getting tweets and emails every day or two from people who are like, all right, I finally went out and bought it and watched it, and oh my God, holy crap. And like, I'll get a tweet saying, oh, I'm sitting down to watch this 3-hour epic. I hope you're not wasting my time. And then exactly 3 hours later, I get a tweet or an email flipping out going, holy shit, this movie was awesome. How have I never seen this before? It is a considerably different movie, and I think it is a way better film. So,
I will say I've seen the alternate ending for I Am Legend, the Will Smith movie, and I guess I hesitated to bring it up because I'm not crazy about the movie at all. But the alternate ending, I think, is a better ending than the one that we saw in the theatrical release.
I'm torn on that ending. I really am. I kind of wish there was an amalgam of both endings, simply because the alternate ending gets the book ending right to a certain extent. It is a better ending in that it gets closer to the theme of the book, which is that this character, Neville, he's a monster now. He's the monster. Yeah. He's the boogeyman of this new race of humanity. That humanity has moved along and he is not, and he is that troll living under the bridge.
Well, that's why I liked it, because it was a closer ending to the Richard Matheson book. And like I said, I won't go into details about it because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but you should look at both endings, and if you know the ending of the novella, then it's a much better fitting. Like, the movie deviates so much away from what the actual story is in the book that this ending actually seems like it tries to make up for that. And I thought that was much better. I thought it would have made a better film if it had come out, but they were scared of not making a.
I don't like the fact that he survives in that version of the film. That's the problem I have with that. Now, that's the neat thing about I Am Legend is if you buy the 3-disc set, you get that ending added into the film, so you can actually watch that version of the film.
And he does live, but the thing is that it tries to be closer to the book. And
I agree.
And it's much more. On the same page. No, I'm not disagreeing with that. I was making another point that I also found it. I guess the fact that since he survives, there's something about that's more moving to me. I don't always want a happy ending where characters live and whatnot, but that ending just kind of moved me a little bit more. And and it is still not close enough to the actual book. I just said it's a tad bit closer.
I don't know if we'll ever see a version of the actual book. I mean, the ending of the book is just of the story is just so goddamn depressing.
You really like I always tell people though, if you really want to see the closest thing to that book, and you really love I Am Legend, go watch Vincent Price's The Last Man on Earth. It's the closest thing to that book that's out there, especially with the ending. So anyway, I know we're 15 minutes past an hour, so we'll go ahead and call it quits here.
All right. Well, good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.